Hi guys, and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Kristen, also known as Voolenvine on Ravelry, on Instagram, where I'm most active on social media, and pretty much everywhere else on the web. As always, I'm so happy that you're taking some time out of your day to chat about all the knitting, all the sewing, and all the making, or whatever crafty rabbit hole I happen to be diving down. If you are a returning viewer, you might have noticed just a little something, just a little bit, a little different at the top of the episode. I am actually rebranding my YouTube channel, and let me explain. Don't everybody panic. I'm renaming my podcast. Just a little bit of history. 8 years ago, I started my podcast. It started out as an audio podcast, and I went with the name Yarngasm because I thought it was hilarious and I had no idea what else to name my podcast. So I went with whatever came to the top of my mind, and Yarngasm was it, and I just ran with it. However, 8 years later, I feel like I've evolved somewhat. I just feel like I've outgrown that name, and it doesn't really speak to who I am as a maker, or I feel like Yarngasm isn't a good fit anymore, and it served me well in the past, but now I just feel like it's time to evolve, move on, and go with what's already working, which I think is my Ravelry name, Voolenvine. That's been my username since I joined Ravelry. It's been the name of my yarn company, and it just makes sense to name my podcast Voolenvine as well. So I hope you guys are excited about it. But don't worry, if you are subscribed to the channel, you don't have to resubscribe. The only thing that's changing is the name of the podcast. So if you are subscribed to the podcast, you're gold. It's just, instead of coming up as Yarngasm in your YouTube feed, it's just going to be called Voolenvine. So I hope you guys are excited for that. I'm super excited for it. I had a lot of fun coming up with the logo, and it's still a little work in progress, but I was hoping to do maybe kind of a surprise / big reveal of the rebrand, as I am coming up on 20,000 subscribers, which is insane, you guys. I would have never imagined. But anyway, I just decided, you know what? Let's just do it now, you know? So anyway, yay! Welcome to the new Voolenvine channel. The format is going to stay the same if you've been with me since the beginning. Nothing is changing, as I mentioned, except for the name. But if you are a new viewer, welcome! You could have not have joined me at a better time. So that said, let's get into the podcast. I have a couple of announcements to discuss with you before I get into what I've been making. And the first is Vlogtober. Vlogtober is upon us, my friends. And if you're not familiar with what Vlogtober is, it's when you upload a vlog video every single day during the month of October. However, it's not mandatory that you do every single day. I certainly am not going to be doing every single day. However, I will be doing as many as I can. It's just a really fun challenge. So far, I only have one Vlogtober episode up. I was a little late to the game. Again, I'm not striving for perfection or to upload every single day. I'm having fun with it. Fun is the keyword here, but really these videos are tiny little snippets taken out of my day during the month of October, and I have to say October is one of my favorite months because sweater weather, there's Halloween, my ultimate favorite holiday, and I have to get on finding a costume to wear. So I hope you guys are game for that, and I will be creating a playlist so you can easily access this year's Vlogtober videos, and I will link to them in the description box below, along with everything else that I chat about in the episode. The other thing that I want to mention is Rhinebeck. Rhinebeck is coming up. Super excited. I can't believe Rhinebeck is in about 2 weeks. It's crazy sauce. And as I mentioned last week, my friend Lara, who is the host of the Dyer's Notebook podcast and formerly the Dyer behind Jinx Yarns, is coming to visit me and staying with me, and we are going to head up to Rhinebeck together. We are only going to be there for Friday for Indian Tangled, and then we're staying over the night and going to the festival, the Dutchess County Fairgrounds, for the Rhinebeck Sheep and Wool Fest for Saturday only. So if you do see us walking around, please do come up and say hello. As I mentioned last week, I would love to meet with you and chat with you. Yay, Rhinebeck, Rhinebeck, Rhinebeck. So that's Rhinebeck. The next announcement I have is to announce a giveaway winner for the Forest Pig KAL that I am co-hosting with my lovely friend Nina of the This Old Knit podcast. The Knit Along kicked off September 22nd, and it is ending November 22nd. It's a 2-month-long knit along, and you guys, there are just so many awesome works in progress in the Yarngasm Ravelry group, which I'm going to be changing into the Voolenvine podcast Ravelry group, so just be aware of that. Again, you have to do nothing. The name is just going to change, so just be aware of that. But yeah, there are so many wonderful photos of works in progress and lots of lively discussion happening in there. And again, double dipping is highly encouraged. You double your chances of winning giveaway prizes for this knit along, and it's just so awesome. But yeah, for the Forest Pig KAL, we are knitting the Way Through the Woods mittens by Erica Mount, who has generously donated several giveaway codes, which are good for one download of a pattern from her online Ravelry shop. She gave Nina and I 5 codes each, and every couple of weeks or so I'm going to draw a winner at random from the thread and award a giveaway code to someone who is participating in the knit along. And this week, the winner is number 29, and that is Cass Loves to Knit. And she is knitting a beautiful pair of Way Through the Woods mittens in white, and I want to say like a really beautiful pink coral. I'll try to post a photo of it here so you can see for yourselves, but it is absolutely beautiful. Congrats, Cass Loves to Knit. Please contact me via Ravelry DM letting me know that you're the winner, and I will send you the code. And yay, thank you so much again to Erica Mount for the codes. And yeah, so if you haven't joined already, there's still plenty of time to join in the knit along. It's a lot of fun, especially if you love color work or Latvian braids. There are lots of Latvian braids in this pattern, and they are super fun. So that's it for announcements. Let's get into what I've been making this week. But first, just a quick word from my sponsor, Skillshare.
Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of classes in design, business, tech, and more, even sewing and the fiber arts. As you know, I'm improving my photo skills and doing so by binge watching photography classes on Skillshare. And because I know you love learning new things too, I partnered up with Skillshare and they are offering my viewers 2 months free to try their platform. So give Skillshare a go and learn something new. Just click on the link in the description box below, entering the code at checkout, and enjoy!
Okay guys, the elephant in the room is staring you right in the face. Not me, the cardigan. I finished my Belmont cardigan, you guys. It is done, it is finished, it is blocked, and I'm wearing it. It's 100% finished because I took photos. I took photos this morning, and I will do my best to pop a photo of it here. If not, I will definitely be posting it on Instagram and on Ravelry. But I am so proud of this cardigan, you guys. It fits so well, and I love it. I really love it. The yarn is Tuku wool, fingering in their Uyo colorway, which is mauve, my ultimate favorite color in the whole wide world. And yeah, it's just 100% Finnish wool. It's from Finland. I got the yarn from EYF this year from Isolde's shop within, I can't call it a stall or a booth. She had a whole room dedicated for her shop. But yeah, one skein left over for me to play with. So really happy about that. But what else do I want to say about this cardigan? I guess I will stand up so you can see it. And it is a cropped cardigan. I don't think the pattern is meant to be cropped, but that's the way this turned out. But you know what? I love the fact that it's cropped. It goes really well over dresses, and I'm wearing it with my Gertie dress, Patterns by Gertie. I'll talk about this dress more in sewing, but this is going to be one of my Rhinebeck ensembles. And I sewed on the buttons. They make me so happy. And if you can see up here, these buttons are a little bit closer together, but these two, sorry. These two are closer together, but that's part of the pattern. They're supposed to be closer together. So not a mistake. I love the fact that this little moon happens to be dead smack in the middle of the V. So, a little contrived, but you know, hey, I love the way that worked out. This is an automatic staple in my handmade wardrobe. I could not be more happy with it. And I'm trying to think what else I wanted to say about it. Still have a stitch marker in here. The ends are woven in. It's done, completely done. So I think that's it. I mean, this is sweater number 3 in my Year of the Garment knit along that I'm hosting. And again, I am terrible at mentioning knit-alongs on the podcast, especially my year-long ones. And if you've been with me since the beginning of the year, you might be aware that I am hosting a year-long knit-along called Year of the Garment, in which I'm knitting as many sweaters as I possibly can in the year of 2018, and anyone is welcome to join. Basically, the only rules are Join me in knitting garments for yourself, for whoever, for a loved one, for a child, a teenager, whoever you want to knit for. Just knit a garment. And my goal for this year is to knit at least 4 garments, and this is number 3. So the first one that I knit, that I completed in 2018 was, or it started and finished in 2018, was my Zweig, and then what is the other one? The Thrypmuir. So Zweig by Caitlin Hunter and Thrypmuir by Isolde Teague. And this is number 3, which is the Belmont Cardigan by Gudrun Johnston. So that leads me to the next work in progress that I have going on. All right, so I swapped project bags because it is Halloween, one of my favorite holidays. So I transferred my Throwback Cardigan to this zombie-tastic project bag by Darn Yarn MN, and I don't know if you can see that, but there are all these really hilarious zombie pinup girls all over it, and yeah, it's mauve. And this was a gift from Maria of Darn Yarn MN, and it could not be more appropriate. It's mauve, it's got zombies, it's got pinup girls on it, it's such my jam. So Maria, thank you. This came in handy. Living inside, I love the fact that it has like a clear window so you can actually see what project is inside. So yeah, as I mentioned, living inside of it is my Throwback Cardigan by Andrea Mowry. And I've made some progress on it, but nothing totally significant that's gonna blow your mind or anything. But here's where I am. I've knit on the body a little bit more, so I have a couple more inches to go before I get to start the ribbing for the bottom, and then I'm on Sleeve Island. Guys, this is like practically knitting itself. It's just going so quickly, and it's just so enjoyable. This is gonna be another staple in my wardrobe because it's gonna be nice and oversized. I can just chuck it on in the morning because during the winter I get super cold in the mornings. You know, if I'm sitting at my computer checking email, I can just chuck it on and be cozy. So yeah, I love this cardigan, guys. It's not even done and I love it. And I'm using US size 7. And as I mentioned last week, I had to go down a whole needle size because, yeah, I did not meet gauge. So I had to go down a whole needle size from what the pattern suggested. Yes, so that is my throwback. But yeah, moving along to the knit along, also living in an appropriate Halloween project bag this was a gift from my friend Nina of the This Old Knit podcast, who is co-hosting the Forest Pig KAL with me. And yeah, I haven't made as much progress as some of you have made who are also joining in on the knit along, but I have made some. So when you purchase the pattern, it's still split up into clues. It hasn't been consolidated into one full pattern. So I am knitting it as if it was still kind of like a mystery knit along. I'm knitting the pattern clue by clue. So I finished one cuff. So I finished the cuff of one hand, and here's the back of it, and here's the front. So you can see I have a deer, and I have some pine trees, and then we have some hoof prints in the snow. So one cuff is done, and now I'm going to cast on for the second cuff. And then once I'm done with that, I'm going to move along to clue 2 and knit the mittens 2 at a time, if that makes sense, or consecutively. So again, I really haven't been working on it because I wanted to get this cardigan done for Rhinebeck, so now that I have some freed up time, I can dedicate more time to working on it. But as you can see, it has a lot of Latvian braids so far. So Latvian braid along the cuff, and then these little random Latvian braid details throughout the mitten pattern itself. So it looks super hard, but honestly, it really isn't. It just keeps the pattern that much more exciting. So it's, you know, one of those patterns where it's just like, just one more row, just one more row, just one more row. And I also wanted to talk about my Guthrie Pullover, which I'm not casting on just yet. I think I might wait until after Rhinebeck to cast on my Guthrie Pullover, and that is a pattern, another gorgeous colorwork pattern by Caitlin Hunter. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to knit that in contrast with my Weep colorway, which is a shaded kind of like tonal gray, and then or my Grim colorway, which is a shaded, you know, really kind of dark shaded black, if that makes any sense. But the tribe has spoken, and Many of you have suggested that I go with Grim, so I was still kind of unsure, so I decided to do the right thing and knit a swatch, and that is what I did. I made a mini swatch, so I don't know if you can see this. It's kind of like a lighter shade of what Grim is actually supposed to be. So it's a little darker than Weep, but not as dark as the original Grim shade, but I'm liking the way this looks. So I think, maybe just it could use a little bit more contrast, so I'm gonna dye a darker shade of it. But yeah, Grim definitely takes the cake with this pattern. But just to give you guys an idea of the colors side by side, this is Spin Cycles Dyed in the Wool. It's their sport weight yarn. It's like hand spun in their Idle Nights colorway. And then this is my Smitten DK Grim colorway. Again, it's a little lighter than what it normally comes out to be, but I'm gonna dye a slightly darker version of this to knit with the Spin Cycle together. So can't wait to cast that on. I'm not sure if I got gauge with this yet. I still have to block it, but this was more so just to see which colorway I wanted to knit with the Spin Cycle. So yeah, that's my Guthrie. Is it Guthrie or Guthrie? I'm pretty sure it's Guthrie. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, so I cannot wait to cast that on. But in the meantime, I have a new cast on because when I saw this pattern, I was just like, I just wanted to knit it. And it was so appropriate because I just started dyeing Smitten DK again, which is my DK weight base. It's superwash merino nylon and cashmere, and it is just so yummy and so soft, like buttered kittens. Oh, yeah. This is the Tenderly shawl, Tendrilly. It's a shawl pattern by D. O'Keefe, and here is where I am with it so far. Let me see which is the right side. Again, nothing much to write home about yet, but I've got it started. I don't know, it's just gonna be just like my go-to winter shawl that I'm gonna wear. So I'm gonna get a lot of this done over the weekend, I think. Yeah, so anyway, that's my new cast on. Because, when you cast one thing off, you have to cast something else entirely new on. I don't know about you guys, but I really, really just enjoy the process of casting something on. It's just so satisfying. It's just like one of those itches that you want to scratch when you have like a million things on the needles and you're like, no, I have to finish something. I have to finish something before I cast something else on. It's just so satisfying being able to cast on something new. I can't explain it. I know I'm not alone, so casting this on was my reward for finishing my my Belmont cardigan. All right, guys, it's getting a little toasty in here, so I'm just gonna take this off because it's still technically warm out. I want to say it's like in the mid 70s right now, which is crazy sauce. But anyway, let's put that on my chair. Look how pretty that is. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so yeah, again, I'll talk about this dress in a little bit, but first I want to talk about stash acquisitions because I wasn't too naughty, but so this past weekend was the New York City yarn crawl, and I used that as an excuse to get out of the house and visit my friend Emily at String Thing Studio. She, if you're not familiar, Emily actually works for me. She comes by on Mondays to package orders, and then on Thursdays, which is today, to dye yarn while I edit the podcast. She's amazing, but she also works at String Thing Studios, which is a local yarn shop in Brooklyn. And so I decided to visit her that weekend during the yarn crawl just to say hello, check out the shop. And it's been a while since I've actually been to String Thing. I think it was like a whole year ago. I went with my friend Allison when they had just opened up. Their inventory was, was a bit limited, and they only had kind of like summery type of yarns like linen and cotton, but they have since expanded their inventory, and they have a whole lot more to offer when you go visit them. And there was this one yarn that really stuck out at me, and I was like, I'm gonna be good. I'm not gonna buy anything because Rhinebeck, priorities. Before I left, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna, it wasn't that, it was 10% off because of the yarn crawl, and I went back and then realized it was gone. So there was only one skein left. However, Emily was like, well, it's gone because I set the other two skeins aside for you because I wanted to get them for you as a gift because she's crazy. Emily, you're crazy, but I love you. A couple of weeks ago, I did a little photo shoot for Emily. She has like a class coming up. I'll let her talk about it on her podcast, which is Slow Fashion Rebel, and you should totally check her out because her podcast is awesome as well. But long story short, she wanted to thank me, which she totally didn't have to do, but she set aside the skeins and got them for me as a gift, as a thank you for taking the photos. And you guys, I love this yarn so much. And here it is. And Caroline, if you're watching this, Caroline as in Dundernit, who just started podcasting, just a little shout out because I think you should watch her podcast. She's amazing and I'm so excited for her. But she loves gold colors, so Caroline, if you're watching, yeah, this is right up your alley. So Emily, thank you so much. This is just, yeah, I'm smitten with this yarn. And I bought myself a third skein since it was the last one there. And the yardage in here is a little limited, so I got myself the extra skein just in cases. So there's 218 yards per skein and 50 grams. But it is I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right. The yarn is called Amano Yarns, and I'm assuming this is their Aini base. And it doesn't have a specific colorway, but it's 80% baby alpaca and 20% silk. It's made in Peru, and the color is 5001. But it's just this really beautiful gold, like brownish gold color, like with a green, like a hint of green undertones to it. It's, oh, I love it. I love it. It's actually the color of my eyes, I want to say. I don't know. No, maybe just a little bit browner, but very, very close. So I couldn't help going on Ravelry and trying to assign a project for this yarn, and I think I want to knit the Mount Pleasant top, which is a really pretty simple dolman sleeve crop top with a lace detail at the bottom. Gabby from Once Upon a Corgi actually knit this pattern, and I saw her wearing it on her podcast, and I was like, that is such a cool crop top sweater. I want to make one for myself. So I think that's what this is going to become. Okay, moving on to sewing. Sadly, I don't have any new sewing projects to share with you this week, but you know what? I'm not going to force it. I'm not going to force myself to sew things for the sake of having something to talk about on the podcast. You can't force these things. Otherwise, it's not fun, and it puts a lot of pressure on me, and you know, quality over quantity, my friends. But I am wearing a handmade object, a handmade garment, or hand sewn, not hand sewn, machine sewn, but it is handmade. And this is one of my favorite dresses that I've made this year. It is the Gertie, Patterns by Gertie for Butterick, pattern number B6453. And again, I will link to that in the show notes. And this is the third incarnation of the dress that I've made. And I will stand up. I've shown this off on the podcast several times before, but it's just a simple princess-seamed bodice with adjustable straps and a gathered skirt with pockets. Pocketses, because pocketses are the best. They're the bestest. Yeah. So, and the fabric is cotton and steel, 100% quilting cotton. And if you follow the podcast, I'm not entirely gung-ho about sewing with quilting cotton, only because I find it to be a little stiff and not a lot of drape, but for a pattern like this, it works so well. Quilting cotton in general, if you're a newbie sewist, I would definitely recommend, you know, starting out with quilting cotton. It's perfect for beginners. It has a lot of stability to it. But if you are going to sew a garment with it, aim for short sleeves. And that was a tip that I learned from Gertie, who designed this pattern. It was a post that she wrote for her blog. I'm blanking which one, but yeah, I hope that was kind of like a helpful tip if you are dipping your toes into sewing. So yeah, that is what I'm wearing. And moving along, let's talk shop update, because I am having an update this weekend. Sunday, October 7th at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. But yeah, again, I don't have yarn to show you this week. It's downstairs drying, and I don't know. I'm, again, not prepared this week, but I am going to pop some photos of the colorways available in the shop this week. And yeah, it is going to be a Volca, which is my fingering merino nylon cashmere base, and Nouveau update, which Nouveau is my single ply fingering weight yarn, 100% merino. So the first colorway that's going to be in the shop is going to be Dead Calm. I will also have some Weep. There will also be some Outlander, some Goth Day Cake, and I will have a Strange Brew on hand as well. And Strange Brews are my one-of-a-kind, non-repeatable colorway, but I can promise you it's going to be very Halloween-y and very spooky. So I hope you guys are excited for that. And if you would like to keep in the loop about Voolenvine Yarns news, you can definitely hop over to my website, voolenvineyarns.com, and sign up for my newsletter. It's the link at the top of the screen, top of the page. Just enter your email, and once a week you'll get a newsletter in your inbox letting you know the rundown for each update and any other news revolving around Voolenvine yarns. So if you have subscribed already, thank you. Thank you so much. The list grows every single week, so it makes me so happy that you guys are excited for my yarns. It just means so much. I think that's it for shop update. I am not vending at Indian Tangle this year, in case you're still wondering, or Rhinebeck. I'm going there just as myself to enjoy the festival. And so again, if you do see me, please do come up and say hello. But yeah, otherwise, that is it for the content of the episode. I am gonna move along to the blather segment, where I chat about what's been happening in my life, should you care to stick around. And yeah, it's been pretty eventful. If you've been following the podcast, last week I talked about my elimination diet, and you guys, thank you so much to everybody who commented about the elimination diet. It's so nice to know that I am not alone in this. So I really enjoyed reading your comments in the last episode, hearing your stories about what foods you're sensitive to, and those of you who are not sensitive to anything, more power to you, because as I mentioned, the struggle can be real when you really don't know what is causing issues in your system. For me, I'm still reintroducing foods back into my diet. Last week I reintroduced nightshades. Some examples of those are tomatoes, eggplant, paprika, certain spices. So that so far has been going really well. This week, I think this week I inadvertently added dairy back into my diet. I had something with butter in it, but I'm still staying away from milk and cheese, and I don't know, I will be honest. I'm feeling way better now that I don't have that in my diet, especially carbohydrates. I've cut out, I'm still not eating gluten, I'm still not eating soy, and I will tell you, I'm feeling way better for it. So yeah, I'm feeling really good, and yeah, anyway. So thank you to everybody who left a comment about that. And in other news, this week, Caitlin from the Wool Jewel podcast was in town, and she's actually friends with Emily, who's Slow Fashion Rebel. And since she was in town, you know, she came over to the Dye Dungeon, we hung out, we knit, and then we headed over to this cafe near our house and got some wine and just continued the knitting. It was a really good Monday, and it was really great getting to meet Caitlin. So Caitlin, if you're watching, hi! She's such an awesome person, and I'm so glad that we finally got to meet in person. And yeah, anyway, I will leave a link to her podcast if you want to check it out. She's actually a really great knitting pattern designer as well. So she has a couple of patterns out. Definitely check them out. Again, I will leave a link to her YouTube channel below, but yeah, she's definitely up and coming, so keep an eye out for her. But anyway, it was a really good day, and I can't wait to see her again at Rhinebeck. So yeah, she's coming back to town. The other thing that I wanted to chat about is Judgy, the the stray cat who seems to have adopted me. I don't know, she just keeps coming back now, and she's a regular, like every morning, like clockwork, she just hangs out on the deck. I really wish she could come inside, but you know, again, we would definitely have to like capture her, take her to the vet, and make sure, you know, she's okay and healthy. I have a funny feeling she's spayed, because she has like one of those notched ears, and when you see a cat with notched ears, that's typically a sign that they've been captured and spayed. And the other caveat is that I really don't think Bella would appreciate having another cat around. She, granted, you know, Bella does know she's out there. She knows that there's another cat out on the deck, but I think she's cool knowing the fact that she's outside on the deck and not inside. They don't hiss at each other. They don't, you know, show any aggression towards each other. They just kind of acknowledge that both cats just like acknowledge each other from a distance, and they're like, yeah, okay, yeah, you're cool, just stay there, type of thing. I really don't know what would happen if I actually let Judgy inside the house. Although Judgy has tried to come inside, and yeah, I don't think that's a good idea. So for now, she's outside. I do feed her when I can. You know, I give her a little something because I can't not feed her. I would feel terrible. Call me a crazy cat lady, but that's just my personal brand of crazy. So go figure. But we did, another thing that I was probably a little crazy is I got a little shelter for her on Amazon. It's just this little fold-up house that you can assemble with Velcro and zippers and everything. It's waterproof, and it has like little flaps that you can put inside to keep you know, drafts out. I got it used on Amazon for about like $30, and I figure, you know, if she's gonna keep coming by during the winter and it's gonna be freezing cold out, at least she'll have a little space for her to hang out and keep warm. I don't know, whatever. So at least she has something. Again, crazy cat lady. But she has gone inside of it. If you checked out my last Vlogtober episode, yeah, I do have video of her actually inside the house taking a nap, and it was the sweetest thing ever. So anyway, I hope I'm doing the right thing. You know, if anyone has any other advice as far as, I don't know, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing right? I have honestly no clue. I'm just trying to make sure the cat is happy and taken care of, because she really is sweet. And anyway, who knows? Who knows where this is gonna go? But so that's the judgy feral cat update. So that's what I'm up to, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, please like and subscribe below. I come out with a new video every Thursdays, and of course, Vlogtober is underway, so you'll be hearing a lot more from me this month, I hope. As always, thank you so much again for tuning in, hanging out with me, and happy knitting, happy making, and I will see you next time. Bye!